The key wasn't working. Could you open the door for me? I asked my daughter-in-law, pressing the intercom button. There was a pause, and then her sharp voice crackled through the speaker, followed by a mocking laugh. Who are you? This is our house now. None of you have any right to be here. What on earth are you saying? I exclaimed, shocked. This house belongs to my husband. It's no place for an old woman like you. If you don't leave, I'll report you, Mia sneered. Her words hit me like a slap. Suddenly, it dawned on me, I was being shut out of my own home, but they didn't know who they were dealing with. I'm not someone who gives up easily. This was just the beginning. My name is Grace. It's been a year since my husband, Robert, and I divorced after many years of marriage. To be honest, our split wasn't a surprise. A younger woman had appeared in his life, claiming to love him deeply. Robert was always a handsome man. As he aged, his charm only seemed to grow, so it wasn't shocking when someone younger found him attractive. This woman, Sophie, knew he was married but still came to me directly. I love Robert, she told me one day, but if you don't want to divorce him, I'll back off. The same goes if he's uncomfortable with how I feel. To be honest, after raising 2 children and reaching our later years, my marriage with Robert had grown stale. I'd even thought about divorce before. What's more, I found Sophie's honesty refreshing. She didn't hide her feelings or act deceitfully, which made me respect her. In the end, Robert and I divorced, and he remarried Sophie. Oddly enough, I still kept in touch with her. Sometimes, we even met up for coffee at stylish little cafes. My sons, however, couldn't understand this. Mom, are you blackmailing her or something? My eldest, Ethan, once said, you must have some dirt on her. That's why you're okay with all of this. I just laughed. No, Ethan, we're simply friends. But he didn't believe me. If this had happened when I was younger, I probably wouldn't have handled things the same way. But my sons are grown now, and I believe they should accept the choices their parents make. After Robert left, I lived alone in the house. I spent my days sitting on the balcony, reading novels, and sipping tea. It was a quiet, peaceful life. If solitude was the price for that peace, I was willing to pay it. I had to pay for the divorce, but honestly, it was worth every penny. After my ex-husband, Edward, retired, I realized I couldn't stand having him around the house all the time. Divorce was the right choice for me. From what I've heard, Edward and his new wife, Clara, are having a fresh and exciting life together. It seems like a win-win situation for all of us. As I was lost in thought, the intercom buzzed. I walked over to the door, expecting to see a friendly neighbor since I wasn't expecting any deliveries. But standing there were my eldest son, Alex, and his wife, Olivia. I don't have the best relationship with either of them. Alex once accused me of using my friendship with Clara as a way to blackmail her for money, a ridiculous idea as petty as Olivia herself. When they first heard about my divorce, their reactions were cruel. Don't worry, we'll take you in, Olivia sneered, getting dumped at your age. Huh, Mom, that's just sad. If it were me, I'd never recover. Oh, and just so you know, if you get into trouble, don't expect Alex or me to help you, she added with the same smug tone. Yeah, Mom, Alex chimed in, don't do anything rash, it'll only cause problems for us. They spoke as if I'd been abandoned because of some mistake I made. When I first announced the divorce, Edward and my youngest son, Noah, were also present. Seeing Alex and Olivia laugh, Noah shook his head and tried to stand up for me. Hey, don't you think that's too much? You're being really rude to Mom, he said. But Alex waved him off with a smirk. Come on, Noah, let's be real. Mom and Dad were never a great match. I always knew he'd leave her once he retired. Honestly, Mom, it's kind of pathetic. Noah and I exchanged a weary glance and sighed. This was typical of Alex. Back in school, Alex surrounded himself with bad influences, driving good people away. After high school, he ran off with Olivia, saying they were getting married. They rarely visited, so I thought the distance was a blessing in disguise. But one day, without warning, they showed up at my doorstep with a moving truck. What's going on? I asked, startled. Mom, move out of the way. If you're not helping us unload, just stay out of it, Alex barked. Yeah, Genesis, make us some tea or something, we're exhausted, Olivia ordered, waving me off like a servant. What are you talking about? You can't just move in here without asking. Please leave, I said firmly. Their jaws dropped, and then they burst into laughter. Seriously, Mom, do you even know what'll happen if you go against us? you'll have nowhere to go, Alex threatened. Yeah, you're just in the way, Olivia added, shoving my shoulder. I stumbled, but one of the movers caught me before I fell. How dare they act like kings in my home? Since that day, Alex and Olivia have treated my house as their own. They refuse to clean, leave garbage everywhere, and toss their clothes around like children. At meals, they complain, "This doesn't taste good," and demand I buy expensive ingredients to make something else. Worse, they don't contribute a single penny to the household. The rising costs of food and utilities because of their presence are draining me. One day, I decided I couldn't stay silent anymore. "Hey, both of you," I said firmly, "if you're going to live here, you need to help with the living expenses. Do you have any idea how much your meals cost?" I asked, but as soon as I spoke, Alex and Olivia exchanged looks and laughed. "We're letting you stay here, so it's fine, right? If you don't want to be kicked out, just stay quiet," Alex said dismissively. I couldn't believe what they were saying. I tried to talk to them again and again, but gradually they started ignoring me. At first, the issues were small, but over the past year, it got worse. Now, I hardly get any response from them. "Wow, Genesis, have you really forgiven your eldest son and his wife after a whole year?" Iris, my ex-husband's new wife and now my friend, asked in surprise. I wouldn't say forgive, more like, at my age, it's not worth the trouble to confront them. I guess ignoring is the better word, I replied. "That's not right," she said firmly. "Genesis, you've told me you're relieved to be free from taking care of them. If living alone makes you happy, then stick with it," Iris said, holding my hand. "I know someone who can handle situations like this. Let's come up with a plan together," she added. Iris's concern sparked something inside me. Even though I was a little embarrassed, I started to think about a way to get Alex and Olivia out. While I was working on that plan, I had no idea what was going on at my house. When I came back, I found myself locked out. The key won't work," I muttered, trying to unlock the door. It felt off, and the key wouldn't go in. I rang the intercom, and a woman's voice answered. "Yes?" It was Olivia's voice. It seemed she was home today, even though she usually went out in the afternoon. "I'm sorry, Olivia, the key isn't working. Can you open the door for me?" I asked. On the other side, Olivia tried to hide her laughter, but it was clear she was struggling not to burst out. "Who are you? It's just me and Alex here," Olivia said mockingly. It hit me then, before I could get them out. Alex and Olivia had already kicked me out. "I see, none of you even own this house. How dare you do this?" I said in disbelief. "What are you talking about? This house belongs to Alex. This isn't a place for a dirty old woman like you. Stay any longer, and I'll report you," Olivia threatened. Her threat to report me made my blood boil. I immediately walked away and called Iris. "Iris, something's wrong. They changed the locks and kicked me out while I was gone," I said quickly. On the other end, Iris was even angrier than I was. "What's wrong with them? No matter how nice you are, there are things you just don't do. I'm done with this. I'll handle them. For now, find somewhere to stay. Come to my place. We'll figure it out there," she said firmly. Soon after, my ex-husband, who Iris had asked to pick me up, arrived. Together, we went to Iris's house. Even my ex-husband was shocked when he heard how Alex and Olivia had behaved over the past year. "How did they end up like this? I never thought they'd treat that house like it was theirs," he said, upset. "This isn't your fault or mine," I replied. "We couldn't change Alex. He's an adult now. He needs to handle his own life. It's his fault for never learning," I added. "Yeah, and this time, we'll make sure he gets it. Don't worry. As for the person Iris knows, I've got some information too. There's a place that can help straighten out Alex and Olivia," my ex-husband said. I hadn't heard much about Iris's friend, so I decided to ask for more details when we reached her house. It turns out that Iris's friend works for a company that helped transform her rebellious brother into a responsible person. It's a very strict company, but it seems to work for people with bad habits, Iris explained. "Wow, a company like that exists? Are they planning to send Alex and Olivia there? They both have jobs, so are they thinking of switching careers?" I asked, curious. Iris seemed surprised and told me more. This information was new to me, but it made me realize that we had to act fast with Alex and Olivia. Later, I noticed several missed calls and messages from them while I was staying at a hotel, but I chose not to answer. I turned off my phone and went to join Iris and my ex-husband. They greeted me warmly, and I mentioned the calls from Alex and Olivia, but I had ignored them. Both of them agreed that it was probably better not to respond. I bet Alex and Olivia are panicking right now. They thought the house would always be theirs, but it's been sold. Now they have to leave. And the people from the company they're relying on bought that house. Some of those people are very tough, including my brother. I've been keeping an eye on them from a distance. They were told to get out, and now Alex and Olivia seem to be in complete shock, Iris said with a laugh. I couldn't help but imagine how funny it would be to watch from afar, but I wasn't sure what would happen if I confronted them directly. The doorbell rang, and Iris checked the monitor. They're here. Stay in the living room. Genesis, don't let them know you're here, Iris instructed, then went to answer the door. As soon as it opened, Alex began complaining to my ex-husband. Dad, you have to do something. Mom is being completely unreasonable, he began. I braced myself for whatever ridiculous things he was about to say. She sold the house that was supposed to be mine and took all the furniture. That house was where you let Mom live after your affair. She had no right to sell it, Alex continued. It was shocking to hear him say this, especially since the terms of our divorce were very clear. Alex still believed that my ex-husband's remarriage was because of an affair. My ex-husband corrected him immediately. What are you talking about? Genesis and I had an amicable divorce. We divided our assets fairly, and there was no affair. I've never paid her alimony, and Genesis and Iris get along just fine, he said. Alex was stunned. That's a lie. There's no way Mom could afford the house. She must have blackmailed you or something. Are you secretly paying her off to keep her quiet? The things he was coming up with were crazy. Olivia joined in, backing him up. Exactly. There's no way a woman abandoned by her husband could afford both money and a house, she said. Their accusations were shocking, especially considering they had been living in my house for free for over a year. Iris raised her voice to stop them. Enough. That house was Genesis's family home. She inherited it after her parents passed away. It's always been hers, even before she married your dad, Iris said firmly. Alex's jaw dropped. Wait, that house was Mom's family home? He said, looking completely surprised. It was almost funny that he didn't remember this. If he had, he wouldn't have embarrassed himself by claiming it was his. My ex-husband added, so, did you lose your job and get kicked out of your last place? And now you're relying on your mom to save you? You've got some nerve, living here for free and even changing the locks without permission. Olivia gasped in dramatic shock, and I had to hold back my laughter. Iris wasn't finished yet. That house is sold, and you have no place to go. You're not allowed to come here either. I won't be treated like a servant, she said. Alex and Olivia tried to protest, but neither Iris nor my ex-husband budged. Instead, Iris handed them a business card. Here's a contact for a live-and-work program. Go there and make yourselves useful, she said. The business card belonged to a strict company known for helping people change their behavior. Desperate for a place to stay, Alex and Olivia eagerly went to the address. When they arrived, they were met by stern staff and the company president, who was curious to see how they would handle the situation. From what I hear, their morale has been low, and they've tried to escape multiple times, only to be caught each time. Now they blame each other for their situation, saying, "This is all your fault." As for me, I decided to sell the house since it felt too big for just one person. Now, I'm taking my time to find my next place. Once I move, I can't wait to show it to Iris and my ex-husband. I'm excited for this new chapter in my life.